この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Sangatsu no Lion episode 20. Last time on Sangatsu, we got a bunch of setup, a bunch of backstory for Shimada, an explanation of all of the weight that's on his shoulders going into this critical match with Soya Toji. And this episode, I feel like we're not going to skip the match this time. Last match, we sort of just skipped it. It was just already over. I feel like we're gonna get deep into it this time, and we're gonna get to really know who Soya Toji is and just what he is as an opponent. Who will win? Who will lose? Who cares? It's gonna be fucking amazing. All right. So, if you missed the memo, which I put out, it will be last week. Sangatsu is getting copyright blocked by Crunchyroll. They're going through and they're blocking them one by one. That sucks, because for most of the previous episodes, I don't have the original files anymore, so I can't, remix them into timer-based versions or anything like that. So I've got a Mega Drive that has all of the up to present, up through 19, all of the full video Sangatsus in it. So if you're missing any, go there. Go to that video. I'll put the link in this description as well so that you can just get it from here. But go to the Mega Drive and you can get them from there. In the future, going forward, there will be multiple versions of Sangatsu. And if you watch any of my other stuff, you probably have seen this before. I just wasn't doing it for Sangatsu because at that time I didn't have to. And so I was like, well, if I'm able to put up the full video, I'm going to put up the full video. I'm no longer able to put up the full video. So there will be multiple versions. The version on YouTube, which you're probably watching right now, is going to be timer-based. And it will have a beep-beep timer at the beginning for you to sync up with your own media. And then it'll have a little box at the bottom, right there. A little box at the bottom with the subs. It'll be the bottom 280 pixels of the video, just cropped and cut in there, which can be helpful for syncing. And if you want to follow along without necessarily watching the whole episode at the same time, or if you just want to skip through to see my reactions to certain parts, stuff like that, it's useful and it's easy for me to put the subs box in there. And then over here, there will be a timer that will count through the timestamp on the episode. Okay? There will also be versions on BitChute and Mega. So BitChute re-encodes to toaster quality. It's really terrible looking, like 480p, but it's really accessible and it's safe from copyright problems. So there will be a version there. It'll be in toaster quality, as I said, but you can go and get it there. And the more people watch it, the easier it is to watch it because it's a WebTorrent peer-to-peer network. Mega, on the other hand, will be pretty darn high quality. I'll render them out myself and just upload them to my Mega Drive. They'll be pretty darn high quality. You might not be able to view it in your browser, depending on which browser it is. They've got different specs on some of the video playback stuff. So it should be viewable in Chrome, and it will definitely be viewable if you download the file off of Mega and view it in a media player like VLC or MPCHC or even probably like a Windows media player level of thing. I would recommend getting VLC though, just because it's so nice to use. But anyway, I just wanted to mention all of this because there will be a significant change in the way that the Sangatsu reactions are done on my channel going forward because I don't want to fuck with Crunchyroll copyright, and it is Crunchyroll going through and blocking them, if I didn't mention that. I don't want to fuck with them copyright-wise, so this is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's fine. You can still get the same thing either by syncing it up yourself with your own media, which is probably better for some of you. You probably prefer that, because then you can watch the video in full screen and have me, elsewhere, or me minimized and just listen to my audio commentary, whatever. Or you can go and watch the full thing with the full thing in it, and I won't cut out the OP and ED because it's all one beast copyright-wise. And you can watch that on Mega or BitChute in terrible quality. On BitChute. Good quality on Mega. Prefer Mega. Use that if you can. Okay, so I've talked long enough. Chill stuff. If you like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you absolutely hate it, go ahead and dislike it. That's cool. If you're not subbed and you want more stuff like this, you might want to do that because this is what I do. And if you are subbed and you're not getting my videos, perhaps the bell could help you with that. At the other one. Okay. If you really like this content or you want next week's reaction a week early, patreon.com/Teeaboo is a place where you can go to throw me a couple of bucks, get access to my Discord server, early access to all my shows that aren't currently airing, because I put those out right on time. What else? Yeah, I guess that's all that matters. Discord access and access to the Patreon, to the early access stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Without further ado, Sangatsu, episode 20. So if you're watching the timer-based version on YouTube, there will be a beep beep timer. It'll go boop 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 beep, and it'll go red, yellow, yellow, green. And on the green light and the beep, that is the same frame that the video starts playing on my screen. I record the video, and I use the recorded version. So I have it synced up via the audio track and via the... I've been doing a new thing where I sync it with the light changes on my face so that I can tell exactly when the frame in the video is the same frame as what I see, right? So like if it flashes white, I can tell that it flashed white because my face will light up, right? It's kind of neat. Anyway, I'll have it synced up right on the money, and so that will be 0 seconds in the video that I'm watching. And if you want to know exactly which version I'm watching, I am watching the Kami 720p BDAAC rip of Sangatsu. If that helps you with syncing, or with you want to play along with the exact same media with the exact same subs, that's what I'm watching, okay? Great. Let's get into it, shall we? Beep beep timer goes here. This is tea. It's tea with matcha in it, so it's like dark green. And it's hot. Ow. Not quite burning, though. Footsteps in the snow from the OP. Is that Shimada? Ooh, I like that guitar. I think we've heard this track a number of times, but still. Is that a cat? Or was that just the glow of the sun in his eyes? Gorgeous color palette. Again using golden hour. Oh. From his days, yeah. Oh. So he's dreaming of his life without Shogi. That's, but it's warm. Back to being a big fish. A vision of the easy way. That is not your path. You chose the hard way. Damn. Oh man. Oh, Shimada. Day 2. Hmm. But you're familiar with Shimada. You're not familiar, or not as familiar with Toji. Too late. Really, dude? He cares. You have a match too? Okay. Oh. Yeah. Get the hell out of here. Smith as the observer? Awesome. Oh. Is he doing the explanation? Oh. Oh. He looked like a dragon. Uh-huh. Ooh. That strange fellow? Wow. All right. That was awesome. Damn. Are you sure about that? Magical. Ah, tying into the beginning. Stand up to him, Ray. Again, talking behind his back. Wow. He sees it. To watch from the room? Huh? Too late? But it was by Ray. Is that Soya talking? Damn. The difficult path. Wow. Hara test Suo. Haha! He is the artist for Fist of the North Star. Okay. So he's the writer of Hokuto no Ken. Oh my god. You can tell. You can definitely tell. This is a fantastic piece. I love the shading, the cross hatching. It's so dark and detailed. I love the wavy hair. This is the dragon guy, right? Wow. That's freaking awesome. This was a tough episode. This was a tough one. You can probably tell that I was pretty enthralled by this because I just sort of stopped taking notes. Yeah, I stopped taking notes less than halfway through the episode and just was enthralled. It was so beautiful. The first scene with Shimada's dream of another path, a way that he could have gone, was gorgeous and nostalgic and beautiful. You can see, how do I put this? You can see that in one sense he longs for that kind of a life, but in another sense he knows that he has given that up. And so his position is sort of something along the lines of, if I've given up all of that for this, then the only thing that I can do is make this worthwhile. If I give in, if I let myself be defeated, if I don't carry this to the end to the best of my ability, then everything that I have sacrificed to get to where I am now would have been in vain. If I don't keep swimming, what was the point of getting here when I could have stayed on the cozy island, right? What was the point of leaving all of this behind, of losing my girlfriend, of losing the future, the quiet future of a family, and going back to my hometown in this dream, this potential dream world, in this lighter timeline? What was the point of following this harder path if I don't follow it to the end? If I don't keep going? And that is a hell of a message. A hell of a message. And the scene where he sort of grins. Oh, well, first off, this scene where his eyes are bathed in the sunlight, in the sunset glow, so they're a completely different color than they would be otherwise. Just beautiful. I almost thought that this was a cat's eye because of the darkness of the skin and the yellow coloring. But it's just heavily stylized. And we're again using this sort of golden hour sunset tones to create this beautiful setting. And he has a child in this life. I couldn't get past the three Dan League. The warmth. This scene with this particular light, I won't go so far as to say it's a definite reference, but it definitely is reminiscent of, and this ceiling is used all over the place. me see if I can find it. It's reminiscent of the Evangelion unfamiliar ceiling light fixture. This light. But where this light is cold and kind of it's this cold blue. This light is the opposite. This light is extremely warm, and it matches the sunset hues that we came from in the previous scene. That light is captured inside. You know, the orange glow of the lights inside the house. Everyone's here and doing well. Karaage. Squid balls, beer. And they're still playing shogi. He's back to being a big fish in a small pond. The best shogi player from a tiny town without enough shogi players to match him. And then he apologizes to them. And this is where we start to see the shift. It's not like this world collapses. I was half expecting that this dream world would collapse into a nightmare. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It remains this sort of pure goodness. I thought it would happen here when he says, like, I'm so sorry. And then, you know, what if... I've seen this kind of situation before where the old man would say something like, yeah, you just suck, or something really biting and terrible, and it would collapse into a nightmare. But it doesn't. This world is just warm and inviting and accepting of him for his decision to stop playing. But he isn't. Happiness is something you can find no matter where you are. Live with all your might, that's enough. But that's the thing for Kai. He knows that this world, this dream, is the result of him not living with all his might, not swimming against the current, and not braving the storm. This is the result of him staying still. It's enough. But is it? Is it enough for him? Is it what he wants? Playing shogi even in the dream. And even in the dream, I still wanted to become a professional. I still wanted this. My stomach still ached. All the pain, and the stomach aches work as a mirror of the pain that he's gone through for shogi. Right? Like, big matches like this cause him immense discomfort. Cause him this terrible pain. But he knows that the pain of regret would cause the same thing. So if you're gonna hurt either way, if you're gonna suffer regardless, you have to choose what you're willing to suffer for. And that's a life lesson. That's an important life lesson. Everything is suffering. This world, nothing happens without suffering. Nothing worthwhile comes without suffering. Absolutely. And almost everything worthwhile comes from acknowledging suffering and walking toward it. You just moving toward it. Because if you run away from everything that makes you suffer, you run away from everything that exists and everything that is worthwhile. And the only thing that can offset the suffering is what you gain by moving toward it. The accomplishment, the knowledge that you've tried. All of it, all of that comes from pushing through. Because you're gonna suffer if you sit in a corner and cry. You're gonna suffer. And you're gonna suffer if you put yourself out there. And you're gonna suffer if you get rejected by people, and you're gonna suffer if you don't. You're gonna suffer if you work, and you're gonna suffer if you don't. The question is, what are you willing to suffer for, and what suffering are you willing to bear? Are you willing to bear the suffering that comes from achieving your goals? Or are you willing to bear the suffering that comes from regretting never trying? It's your choice. It's always your choice. But you're gonna hurt no matter what, because this is not a kind world. This is a hard world. You're alive. And that means you're dying. Every day. And so you will suffer. So what are you willing to suffer for? Are you willing to suffer the regret of never putting your all into the thing that you love, the thing that you desperately want? Or are you willing to suffer the pain that will come at you in waves if you actually move toward it? It's up to you. It's up to all of us. In my experience, the people who choose their suffering are a lot happier than the people who just let it come to them. And it's not because they suffer less, it's because they suffer consciously. Think about it. Then we get this setup, and this is a through line through the episode of people talking about the match. Talking behind Shimada's back, behind Rei's back. And Rei hears a lot more of it than Shimada does. I love that we hop between the time frames. Like, this is early in the morning when he's waking up, and then that's later when he's already dressed and ready. We hop there, hear them talking about him behind his back, and then hop back. It's possible that scene where he was holding the bouquet was from the night before or something like that. But I don't know. The me who couldn't become a professional and move back to the countryside. The me who risked everything to make it this far and now faces 4 losses in a row. Which one is a nightmare? And which one is a dream? They're both nightmares. They're both dreams. Which one do you choose? The pain of defeat or the pain of not trying? That's the choice. And we see it in his face. This face is so great with the dark shading, the shadow over everything. The grin with the little canines. When Shimada gets serious, oh, he's a fucking badass. I'll find out by seeing it through to the end. Is this the nightmare? Maybe so. Let's do it. Yeah. We get more of these cuts to the outside, to small details in the environment, to set the stage, to set the scene. And we switch to voiceover by Rei. Sealed move adjournment. Then walking around this gorgeous looking buffet. Miso soup. And he's hearing these people talking behind Shimada's back. Hearing what other people are thinking about the match. And it's different from what Rei's thinking about it because he knows Shimada, right? He knows his style. He knows how he's playing. God, that looks like some dope food. Looks like some salmon there, some other stuff. Got this rice, that miso soup. Ooh, that looks like a good breakfast. And then the battle continues, and we don't really see much of the match. I love this comedic interlude to break up the tension, and I love that his phone becomes wibbly wobbledy. It's so great. It's so great. This show does these comedic inserts so well and at such good times. It kind of reminds me of the like chibi comedy in Full Metal Alchemist, except that the chibi comedy in Full Metal Alchemist was often kind of jarring and generally not very funny. I find the comedy in this a lot more oomphy. It's got more feel to it, and I think a part of that is because it's so often sandwiched between extremely dramatic moments. Like, we just had an extremely dramatic moment with Shimada's dream and his waking up and deciding that he's going to see it through to the end to find out if it's a nightmare. And then we had a much less dramatic moment, sort of a quiet moment, as Ray narrates what's going on in the match so far, and then walks around hearing people talking about the match, and we're getting more information from that on how the general consensus is of the match. And then we smoothly transition into this crazy, goofy comedy, which could be jarring, but it's not, because it works as a tone shift, and it's a kind of a smooth transition up into it. Like, we have dramatic high, sort of a lowish point, comedic high, sort of a lowish point in terms of emotional intensity, not like a low point in the episode, but like if we graph intensity, dramatic high, low point, comedic high, low point, dramatic high. It's structure. It's so good. And the comedy leads to a dramatic middle ground, right? Which will transition us into the next thing. The next thing is this scene with removing the sick guy. And this isn't super comedic to me. It's definitely not a dramatic scene, but it's sort of like an interlude. It's just there. It's just things going on in the environment, and they're sort of humorous and sort of dramatic and sort of a middle ground. A nice stepping stone into the next scenes. We get pretty comedic with Smith. But I don't find this outright funny, you know? I find it's just there. It's cute and kind of goofy. And then we transition into this middle ground where he reveals the sealed move. Everyone's ready. The curtains rise. We introduce this whole thing, and then we get a sort of a comedic high with the whole scene of the dragon, like, going hard. Then we enter the next section. And this is pure drama. The pain, the pain. Oh, I lost my subtrack. Will it come back if I just reset it? Now it's busted. 15 minutes in. All right, quick reset. The way he captures his pain and puts reins on it, uses it to drive himself forward. Black bog throbbing in the pit of my stomach. Oh man. I had a really bad stomach ache last night. I was up for a couple of hours later than I wanted to be because I was just like, ow, really bad stomach ache. And it was because I ate too much fatty food, without like too quickly. Too much fatty food too quickly. And I finally resolved it by like consuming a little bit of apple cider vinegar with water, just to add a little bit of acid to my stomach because I didn't have enough acid to dissolve all the fats. But it took hours. So I was just like, oh, burping and like, ah. So this kind of hit home for me because I spent a couple hours like doubled over in stomach agony last night. So I was feeling it. I was feeling Shimada a lot. But he harnesses it. And this scene of him grinning, and we know that he's like clutching his stomach in agony, makes me feel alive. And that ties into what I was talking about earlier. When you choose the suffering that you're willing to bear for a goal that you really want, the pain makes you feel alive. Instead of making you want to stop, makes you want to keep going. You're like, must keep going. You'll get that if you start exercising and you start getting consistent with it. It hurts so good. You know, it hurts so good. Powerful. And then we move into this sequence where the snow comes and Shimada, well, Soyatoji says it himself. You think too much of me. You respect me too much. You think that I made the perfect moves. There were gaps. There were gaps in my play. I saw them. But you didn't. You should have been looking harder for the weaknesses. Because they exist. I'm not perfect. And Ray saw those moves. That's interesting. He has potential that outstrips his mentor. Certainly. Captivated by the snowfall. And that's sort of how we get this idea that that's how Soya plays. It's this calm, steady, silent snow that just builds and builds and builds until it covers you. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. Ray tries to stand up against this dragon character. It's not over yet. It's over. Nobody else sees the move that Ray sees. And everyone starts talking again behind his back. Ah, damn shame. Poor guy, he didn't show us anything. Wish he showed us some backbone. You want to just rage at them. You want to just scream at them. But Ray sees the move. These pieces aren't dead. To me, there's still a chance. Boom. Puts the move down, starts to run after the dragon. To try and show somebody, it's still possible. You're wrong. You could still do it. But it's too late. You're not the one playing, Ray. Shimada is. Shimada didn't see the move. It's the gap in skill. And this quick transition here, Ray's about to throw this piece down in the place where he figured out what the move was. Then we transition to Soyatoji doing the same. Showing Shimada that he had a path. It wasn't noticed, huh? Darkness isn't just playing on an endless loop. There are gaps in the clouds. He turned the match around. Soya's in checkmate. He lights up. One move that could have changed everything. but he didn't see it. A small flash of light. It was so beautiful. Shimada loses without taking one match. Thought of the path he's taken. The difficult road through the storm. I've known it all along. There's no island on the other side, just another storm. A worse, bigger, more terrifying, churning sea of turmoil. But you must keep going. Wandering without end. Breaking and rebuilding yourself. Breaking and rebuilding yourself. Breaking and rebuilding yourself. Dying so that you can go a bit further. Putting yourself back together so you can take more steps. Getting crushed by the next obstacle in your way. Putting yourself back together. Taking a few more steps. Then why? He's got these lines under his eyes. It's deep. I can no longer ask Shimada. Can't bring myself to ask him. Instead, I have to ask myself that question in the middle of that storm. I can't stay on the island. I can't stay safe. I choose the hard path. Dive in. So the question, we finally find out what the question is that he wanted to ask Shimada. What's on the other side of the storm? And he's realized that Shimada can't answer that for him. He needs to go and see for himself. What a revelation. What a beautiful episode. What beautiful characters. What a beautiful show. Thank you, Sangatsu. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to see them. Love to read them. Let me know if there's anything that you think could be done better in these videos, especially now that we're changing the format a bit. So it'll be the timer-based version or the full version. Let me know if there's anything that you would recommend doing differently in those videos. I would appreciate it. And I appreciate you. All of you. Especially, yo, super duper double shout out to Hyo. Yo, you're a badass. Hyo is the guy who got the shout out at the very beginning with the Kono Bangumi wa Waran no sponsor o teikyo de. Yeah. And he got that shout out because he is in the above and beyond $15 esteemed colleague tier on Patreon, and I really appreciate it. Guy buys me a lot of eggs. That's awesome. If you want next week's episode of Sangatsu, you can find it on Patreon. What a good episode. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Me Teeaboo, this Sangatsu. I hope to see you in the next one too. Peace.